Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadeshatarine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadeshatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Gaura Hari Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Gaura Hari Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Hare Krishna everyone. How are you all doing?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, I think we will get started. Let's start with Mangla Charan. Let me share my screen. We can all unmute and recite together. Om Ajnana
ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
Shri Chaitanya
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं
Yena
येन भूतले
Swayam
यं रूपः कदा मह्यं
Dadati
ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्।
Tikam Vandeham
वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं
Shri
श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च
Shri Rupam
रूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम्
Sadvaitam
साद्वैतं सावधूतं
Dutam Parijana
परिजनसहितं
Krishna
कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम्
Shri
श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता
Shri
श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च
He Krishna
कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो
Dinabandhu
दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकान्ता
Radha
राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते।
Sapta
तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी
Radhe
राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
Kripa
कृपा सिन्धुभ्य
Sindhu
एव च पतितानां
Pavane
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो
Vaishnavyo
नमो नमः।
Jai
जय
Shri
श्री कृष्ण प्रभु
Chaitanya
नित्य
Prabhu
प्रभु नित्यानंद
Shri
श्री
Advaita
अद्वैत गदाधारा
Shri
श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा।
Hare
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna
कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्णा हरे हरे
Hare
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining and for being here on a Sunday afternoon, which can be sometimes a little disheartening that the weekend is coming to an end. Sometimes we also want to spend this time to prepare for Monday. So, in both of those cases, I think this is the right place to be, because if we are feeling disheartened, dissatisfied, again, this can be uplifting. And if this is also a preparation for us to begin our week as we get into the work week. So, thank you everyone who's here for joining. We are doing which chapter? Fifth chapter. Okay. Yes, we are intending to finish that chapter today. So at least we should know what chapter we are trying to finish. What is the chapter titled?
Karma Yoga in the consciousness of Krishna.
Yes. Balu Prabhu, you are trying to say something?
Yeah, same thing. Karma Yoga in Krishna
Yes.
consciousness.
Yes. So like we know, third chapter is also titled Karma Yoga. So what is the difference between the third chapter and this chapter, both of which are titled Karma Yoga?
Here we are specifically discussing, karmas in Krishna conscious way.
Okay,
Whereas
yes.
in third chapter, it was a generic kind of discussing about akarma, vikarma, and nishkarma karma.
Okay, okay, yes, very good. And so, what is the provoking question that Arjun asks in this chapter that prompts Krishna to speak about this whole topic of karma or action in Krishna consciousness?
So he was
So,
asked whether it, sorry, Nani.
Okay, Punya Prabhu, let's.
Krishna introduces Karma Yoga and Gnana Yoga. Arjuna questions like, what is the best path for me? You have both told about Karma Yoga and Gnana Yoga. Which should I follow?
Right.
It is the easiest way.
What is easier? What should he follow? Yes, very good. Okay. So then what does Krishna answer? Maybe Pragya Mataji? Pragya Mataji, are you there?
I am here.
Yes, Mataji. So can you explain what does Arjun asked this question, what does Krishna then respond?
Uh, Krishna responds that Jnana Yoga is good, but it is very hard. And whereas Karma Yoga with Bhakti, it is hard for me to explain though. But
No problem. Please, you were there. You are almost there. Please continue.
I was just saying that keeping Krishna on the center of Karma Yoga and devoting all the karmas to him, it is much easier. It is much easier, whereas doing the Jnana Yoga is it's dry, and also it's very hard path. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So yes, Krishna says that both lead to liberation, but action in Krishna consciousness is much easier. So why? What is Krishna's reasoning for saying that Gyan Yoga is harder? Haven't we all been this study? Isn't it Gyan Yoga? You have been coming to class for so many days. We have been reading Bhagavad Gita. It's gaining knowledge even through all these 15 years or 20 years of what we studied, material education. That is also attaining jnana, right? So was it all hard?
The material education is limited to, in this body at least, provided if we make use of it and get into a path of earning money. That's the goal of education. Primarily,
yes.
people take it.
Yeah.
Of course, that is not the only primary reason, but yeah. But
Even for
jnana is beyond this birth.
Yes.
So
Yes.
obviously,
So jnana, that spiritual knowledge is beyond the birth.
beyond this 10 years,
Yeah,
in this body.
that is correct. But then how come it's Krishna is saying it's hard? Because sitting down and just listening to jnana or understanding jnana seems to be like easy. Okay, I'm sitting, maybe yes, it seems easy enough. So why does Krishna say it's hard?
We think we may know, but it may not be.
Okay, yes, that's very good point. We think we may know, but we may actually not know. Pragya Mataji, go ahead.
It is hard to practice that, because although we know that Atma, our identity is Atma, but still we engage in all sort of different sensory desires. And even if not, we don't engage, it is very easy to distract.
Okay,
And so we have not absorbed that knowledge to all the way, and it is very hard to be connected to that knowledge all the time.
yeah, yes, it is hard to be connected. I'm looking for more practical, like you all are right, and you all are getting there. I'm looking for a more practical answer. Santosh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So the reason Krishna mentions that Karma Sannyas Yoga is difficult because a prerequisite, or Gyan Yoga is difficult because a prerequisite for that is purity, or freedom from material desires, purity of body, senses, mind, and intellect. And I, a normal human being, we have sense desires, and yeah, we are unable to deploy those senses to Krishna consciousness completely. So through Karma Yoga, Lord Krishna suggests that we can attain progressive, we can reach the purification of mind and senses in a progressive manner.
Yes, that is also correct.
It is like if you are hating the results of the activity, because of that you don't want to go in that way, and you want to go towards Jnana Yoga, because you are hating the fruits of your actions. So that is not good, because you, I mean, still you have that duality mindset. You are hating something, that's why you are coming here, which is not good. But instead, you have to perform your action, and at the same time offer that fruitive results, I mean, offer that result to Krishna, do in a Krishna conscious way. With that, you will not have that fear, neither fear nor attracted towards that fruits of that action. So in that way, doing in Krishna consciousness is good instead of leaving them. If you do like that, if you just leave everything and go for renunciation, you might want to come back again. You will lose that.
Yes,
So
yes.
that is the major reason Krishna is recommending to do the actions in a Krishna conscious way instead of doing the knowledge path.
Yeah. So yes, Prabhu, you are very close. So basically, what is why you saying something? Okay. So yes, so basically what is Jnana Yoga? It's eventually figuring out that I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, and then coming to the supreme. And then when you realize all these things, that I am not this, I am not this, it leads to having you to renounce that you are not. And renunciation is not easy, because why? Because desires always trouble us, right? So if we were, and then even if we are able to renounce, it's not easy to renounce because it is artificial, right? It is at a point where if we are immature and we are trying to renounce something, let's say I have a very strong desire for a big house or a big car, and I forcefully suppress that desire. So we may be able to suppress that desire at a physical level, but at the mental level, that desire is still there, and eventually it will erupt itself in the form of a volcano. And then all this practice that we performed for renunciation is going to go to waste in one moment. So that's why this process, even though it leads to the same understanding, it leads to the same liberation, is same as karma yoga or action in Krishna consciousness, but it's hard because we may be able to artificially suppress and renounce, but at the mental level all those things are still not yet achieved. Yes,
This should come naturally.
it should come naturally.
Organically.
Yes, because if it doesn't come naturally or organically, then it's artificial, and it comes back stronger. That's what Krishna tells Arjun also, when he says, when he sees all these people in the battlefield, and he says, I don't want to fight this war, I am going to go to the forest. What does Krishna tell? That now, right now, it seems that you want to go to the forest, but your swabhav is of a kshatriya. So tomorrow when you will face the hardships of the forest, and when you will see that your nature is to rule and you are not following your nature, then your internal swabhava will come out strong, and you will retaliate more forcefully. So even though now you are saying you want to go to the forest, in the long term this is not matching your inherent nature, and so this is not good for you.
Correct.
Right?
And I had one question.
Yes, bro.
Um, I was having discussion with one of my friends. So basically, the conflicting of the conflict of interest. What happened is with respect to Varnas, right?
Okay.
So as of now, we are as Shudras, and now we are trying to knowledge and to understand how the Brahman gets the knowledge and goes towards the liberation, right? The other two Varnas like Vaishyas and King. So even we heard some of the story where a king comes to Jagannath Ratha Yatra and he cleans and then he completely comes into devotion side. So why the kings were leaving their duty as per chapter 3 and chapter 5? They supposed to be as Kshatriya and they do their duties in the Krishna conscious way, right? Why they were leaving and completely coming to the spiritual side instead of performing their sadharma.
So like you're talking about King Pratap Rudra, how he
I don't know,
in Chaitanya Charit,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
like there's, okay, let me give everybody a context. So in this in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is the study, or it's like how we are studying this Bhagavad Gita as a discussion between Arjuna and Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita is the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the deity that we have at home. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his life, so his life is divided into 3 sections in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we go through each of the sections of his life. And one of those sections, there's a pastime, or there's a story of this king called King Pratap Rudra, and how he has this intense desire to meet and serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi, so he doesn't want to associate with anybody who is worldly, and so he rejects, saying that I don't want to meet him. And then King Pratap Rudra has this intense desire over and over again to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu keeps denying. Eventually, then there is a time when both of them meet and both of them are crying, and it's a very intimate kind of a Milan, I don't know, right? So, right. So, Prabhu's question here is, how come King Pratap Rudra went out of his Varna and had this demonstrated this intense love? So it's not
It's
that
a
he,
karma sannyasa kind of, right?
yeah. So the kings in the olden days, or the right perspective of being a king, and that's why they had these brahmanas who are constantly
Correct.
advising them, because
Correct.
the right position of a king is to be God conscious. And it is said that you should become a king only when you have the capability to deliver all your subjects. So if a king is not God conscious, there's no way they can deliver all his subjects. Similarly, it is said that a grihastha should beget children only when he feels responsible that he can develop Krishna consciousness or God consciousness in his children and deliver them. So this is the responsibility of a kshatriya and a grihastha, right? So if you should not see them as being this separate, right? A king has to be God conscious throughout his kingdom, and
Yes,
the time
but still continue his duty.
continue his duty, right?
So,
And King Pratap Rudra, when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at that time he was at the peak. I mean, he was getting to the point of Vanaprastha. So at that point, if he wants to renounce his worldly duties and take on to being an associate in this case, or to devote full time, right, then that's completely natural.
Okay, so if it is before 50, 60, before retirement, probably they should do their sadharma as well as their spirituality.
Yeah.
But after that, they can be completely come on to.
Yeah, I mean, like that 50 is an example,
yes.
right? Whenever you feel mature enough, that's when the transition can smoothly automatically happen.
Okay.
Like for Dhritarashtra, it had to be kind of it was not happening, right? Like when Vidura came to Dhritarashtra after his own pilgrimage, and by that time the battle had happened, and he saw that Dhritarashtra is still living in the kingdom in which Yudhishthir is ruling. He prompted Dhritarashtra that why are you still living in the kingdom that is being ruled by Yudhishthir? The kingdom is already taken care of. Why don't you go to the next level? And he helped Dhritarashtra get to the next level. So now his duties are done.
Yeah.
So it's very natural. Yeah. Even also many other stories in Bhagavatam. Prithvi Maharaj, yeah, Dhruv Maharaj, they all did his Kshatriya duties till whenever, and when the next generation is ready, they move on to their next Varna.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Okay, so this was the first section of chapter 5, where we are discussing which is easier, both lead to liberation, one is harder, one is easier. And then after, what is the next section in chapter 5? Then starting with text 7, we start discussing what are the characteristics of a person who is yoga yukta, right? One who has attained this path, right? Who is a yoga yukta? Let's read. So here, right, in verse 6, Krishna refers to a person who is yoga yukta. What does yoga yukta mean? One who is engaged in devotional service, right? So in chapter 7, verse 7, then Krishna talks about the characteristics of a person who is following the path of devotional service, right? What does Krishna say? What are the characteristics? Right, we saw that he is equal visioned, right? We saw that he is using all his senses in the service of the Lord. The text 8 and 9, right? A person in divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, everything, he actually does nothing at all, because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. Right? Similarly, again, Krishna says we have to perform our duty without attachment, surrendering the results to the Lord. We have to abandon attachment. So many times Krishna says we have to abandon attachment, right? See, text 10, without attachment, abandon attachment. So many times Krishna says, but then what does he say? Can we just abandon the attachment just like that? Right? You're really attached to something. How do you abandon that attachment? But then, if you remember, we had discussed that anyway, nothing belongs to us, right? So, what are we really renouncing? If nothing belongs to us, then is there any point in even saying that I renounce this thing? Because
the reason why you are saying is because you are thinking it is yours.
yes.
So by renouncing, you are saying that I am not anymore associated.
Yeah, but renunciation, again, it comes back to this whole circle of renunciation is hard because our desires are not fulfilled, right? They keep coming. So renunciation, or this is actually in Bhagavad Gita, this term is called Falgu Vairagya. Falgu means impractical or foolish renunciation or artificial renunciation. So Falgu Vairagya is condemned because, and if you remember, we discussed the story of the king and the sannyasi. The king there was a fire and the king was completely detached, but the sannyasi was attached to his kamandal and, right? So the sannyasi was demonstrating Falgu Vairagya, even though he seemingly is very detached, but actually he's not. Versus the king, who is living in all the opulence, is completely detached. So which one is better?
Completely detached like king.
Like the king. So externally, it may seem like the king is so opulently living and he has everything at his disposal, but when the time comes, then he is not really living. And then this verse here in 5th chapter is also where we talk about how we need to live like a lotus, right? Like we are in the material world, but not of the material world. We are not getting impacted, right? And we also talked about how we are not the only doer in 5th chapter, right? We talked about how the material nature, the soul, all of those act towards us being able to perform any action. Do we remember all this? Okay. Yeah, so this is all this, right? And then last week we were also discussing how our goal is eventually to go internal, right? We have to start going internal. Like today we seek happiness in all these external things, but we know that these external things are like wombs of suffering. Do you remember that term, wombs of suffering? Like you enjoy happiness, but then the moment that happiness starts to subside, misery picks up, like we discussed going on a vacation, or anything small that gives us happiness eventually subsides, and then it leads to either lamentation or suffering of some kind. So these material things are wombs of suffering, and our goal is to get away from them, and the only way to get away from them is to be more internal, to seek happiness within. But how do we do that? Because our desires are still there. We cannot say, oh, I have no desires. So it's like a, if you think about it, this is all very counter intuitive. In one place we are saying that yes, all the desires will be there and we shouldn't curb them, and then we are saying we should curb them and look internal.
Right.
So it seems all very like how to reconcile all this. So if you remember the last verse that we did last week before ending the class, what does Krishna say here in text 23? Do you remember? Can somebody read the translation?
Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in the world.
Right? One is able to, what's the keyword here? Tolerate. So urges will be there, right? But we have to learn to tolerate. Just like we tolerate too much cold, too much sun, too much of sickness, too much of whatever, the ability to tolerate is there in us. We need to also use that ability when we see this force of desires that constantly troubles us, right? So there's two things we discussed last time, that there is this temptation that we constantly get. I should do this or I should do that. Like even one moment we cannot sit without some kind of thought, right? Maybe I have a itch, or maybe I'm thirsty, or maybe I have a backache. Even when we are sitting, we get all these different thoughts. These are all temptations. And then the next level from being tempted and always giving in is transgressing, which means that I had a temptation, I transgressed it. And the wall between these two is tolerance. We tolerate it. So that's the key. I mean, nobody is saying that this will be easy. Desires will be there, but we need to just acknowledge that yes, a desire is there. Let me try to tolerate it for some time. We may not succeed first time, we may not succeed second time, but every time, if let's say I have a desire to eat a gulab jamun right now, and I know there are 5 gulab jamuns in my fridge, right? One is that I get up immediately now. So let's say I'm right now taking class and I remember that gulab jamun, right? Now I want to get up and eat it. One is no control, means in the middle of this class, I'm going to get up and grab the gulab jamun. The next level is that, okay, I am thinking about it, but I will get up after the class finishes. So what did I do between that time? Tolerate that urge. And if I'm able to extend that period of time to be, let's say, next day or the day after, or until the gulab jamun finishes, then I've transgressed that urge, right? So that's how it is. We may not be able to control it 10 times, 50 times, 100 times, but with practice and with patience, eventually it will happen. That's what our scriptures are telling us. Okay. Let's move on to the next verse. So this is where we start today. Any questions from anyone? Okay, cool. So let's do this verse today. Now, there are 29 verses in this chapter. Hopefully, let's see if we can finish this chapter today. Yoanta sukhontarasatmas
Yunta Sukhanta Mas
tathantara jyotirevaya
Tantara Jyotirivaya
sa yogi brahma nirvanam
Sayogi
Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam
brahma bhuto adigacchati.
Brahma
Brahma Bhutodi Gacchati.
Translation. Shiva Prabhu, can you read online?
One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme, and ultimately he attains the Supreme.
Right. So again, Krishna is again going back to this point of one whose happiness is within. So Krishna started, if we look in verse 20, let's quickly go back to verse 20. Krishna says, a person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God, is already situated in transcendence. Right? So, Krishna here talks about being Brahmani Sthita, means being situated in Brahman. And then again, after going through this whole cycle of what happens before you are situated in Brahman, Krishna comes back giving this idea about tolerance and how these desires will constantly will trouble us, how we need to look internal. He then comes back and says that a person whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, whose aim is inward, he attains the supreme. So he's come a full circle from stating what we want to be, where we want to get to, and then he talks about how to get to, and then he says once you get to it, this is what we will be. Right? So let's read the purport.
Unless one is able to relish happiness from within, how can one retire from the external engagements meant for deriving superficial happiness? A liberated person enjoys happiness by factual experience. He can therefore sit silently at any place and enjoy the activities of life from within. Such a liberated person no longer desires external material happiness. This state is called Brahmabhuta, attaining which one is assured of going back to Godhead, back to home.
Back to home. So later in one of the chapters, Krishna talks about Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochti na kangshati mad bhakte labte param. Right? So Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. A person who is Brahma Bhuta, he is a Prasannatma. Na sochati na kangshati means he neither laments nor hankers. Because if you think about it, what is human form of life? And I cannot imagine me doing it that much yet, but I know that when we talk to, like when I talk to my parents, this is what they do all the time. Either lamenting about the past, oh, this happened, or that happened, this did not go well, what if we could have done this differently, or worrying about the future. Worrying about the future, I think we do a lot. I think in our age, we don't lament that much about the past. But if you talk to the parents, I feel like they lament about the past. Maybe they don't worry about the future that much. So it's like we are between those two poles. Na soch, but the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na sochati, na kangshati. They are not worried about what has happened in the past. They are not worried about what's going to happen in the future. Why? Because they are able to relish the happiness from within. Why do we face misery? Many a times it's because we have given the remote control of our life to external objects. India wins the game, we are happy, right? Somebody cooks nice dinner, we are happy. Somebody messes up the salt in the food, we are not happy, right? It's all external. Our happiness is all based on external factors. So, is this easy? One who is able to relish happiness from within, and one who is able to retire from external engagements meant for deriving superficial happiness, right? So this is the key. He can therefore sit silently in at any place and enjoy the activities of life from within. How hard does this seem?
You think by the words it seems pretty easy though. Pretty hard.
It's pretty hard practically,
Yeah.
right? Let's say,
Because the case people can just sit in the chair and then just.
yeah. I mean, I think this was easy when we were not so digitally advanced. Because I know, like, sometimes we would, when we were kids, we would just be sitting doing nothing, and parents will come and ask, "What are you doing?" We'll say, "We'll be happy to say nothing," right? How many times are we able to say, "What are you doing?" Nothing. Not anymore. Either we are on the phone or something. We are on the go. Something or the other is always happening. So that feeling of not doing anything and still being happy is becoming very, very rare. I mean, I'll give you an example. So my daughter finished her exams last Friday, and she's roaming around on this Friday afternoon because, I mean, she has things to do, but she doesn't want to do anything. But she's like roaming around saying, "What can I do? I don't want to do anything." So, like, you are constantly in this mode of needing to do something to keep yourself busy. But here they are talking about we need to get to a point where we can just sit silently at a place and enjoy the activities of life from within.
You get to meet a lot of people. Do anyone actually are in that state where they don't do anything and just.
I feel like a lot of people who, like, I feel like I find this happening sometimes when I'm very deep into some kind of reading, where you're really just reading, not like about, because today what happens is when we read, then our reading is also very um, um, result focused. What am I going to gain from reading this book? Atomic Habits, or you need something from that book for you to be able to read. But I feel that sometimes lately I have started feeling that if I read a book which is related to, like, just maybe the pastimes of the Lord, it gives you that absorption where you're not looking for anything as such for yourself. You're just happily reading. I find like that's the closest I've gone to being at a place where you're not doing or not looking for anything external, and you're still very content with what you did.
Usually, I think, at least we noticed with Nanda Swami, right, in the Sadhu Sangha, they do not talk unnecessarily.
Yeah.
So I think they are perfectly balanced. Whereas we tend to talk too much because we knew something, we want to share. I think this 5.23 is a perfect.
Yeah.
That is about, it is explained, right? Vacha, urge to talk more. That propensity should be reduced.
Yes,
That
yes.
comes by practice. So like that, many people they do it, but yeah.
No, but
It takes lot of
isn't it the
time.
case that it's good that you are sharing your knowledge, which is supposedly good?
Yeah.
That's the example I was saying, but
I mean, see, this propensity to talk is there in all of us. If it is dovetailed towards like what we are doing right now, right, then that's not bad. But if we are just discussing some mundane subject matters or ridiculing someone just out of nowhere, right, like Indian cricket team again fails and we ridicule the players. I mean, what good is it doing? Is it harm? Is it helping them improve? Is it helping us improve? What does it give us? Nothing. More of just, maybe it is more like you had a itch and you itched it and you itched it more and you explained to someone how you itched it. That's it. Nobody gains anything from it. But what we are doing right now, where we are coming together and trying to understand how deep, now imagine, like, we have only covered 23 verses in this fifth chapter. Still, for us to be able to really understand what they are trying to say, what Krishna is trying to impart knowledge to Arjun, we have been studying for now like over a month or 2 months now, this fifth chapter, right? It still doesn't make full sense to us. How do you apply this? So if we are coming together and discussing this subject matter, trying to understand this practically, this is great. This is a really good use of time and our ability, this desire that we have to speak. And this is what we have to do. We'll look at it at some verses later on, which will maybe help um, help understand what we are trying to say here. What does really impractical renunciation and practical renunciation mean? This will become very clear in the next couple of verses. So again, this word comes, Brahma Nirvanam. Labhante Brahma Nirvanam.
Labhante Brahma Nirvanam.
Rashaya Sheena Kalmashaha.
Rashaya Kshina Kalmashaha.
Chinna Dvaida Yatatmana.
Chinna Dvaida Yatatmana.
Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha.
Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha.
This is a very, very practical, or maybe not practical, but this is a very eye-opening verse. When I read it first time, I don't think it made this sense to me, but when I read it or heard our acharyas explain this a couple more times, it made so much more sense to me. So let's read the translation. Hima Mataji?
Yes. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, those minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme.
Yes. So at first glance, does this verse seem any different from all these previous verses that we have read? One who is beyond dualities, okay, whose minds are engaged, who are always busy working. Does it seem any different from all these previous verses that we have seen?
Very similar.
Very similar.
Working for the welfare of all living beings.
Yes,
Seems
Punya
an
Prabhu.
additional.
Seems additional, yes. So we'll cover that in a second. I mean, most of the time, what happens is the answer to all the questions can very easily be act in Krishna consciousness. If I ask you any question, you can always say, oh, act in Krishna consciousness. That's what Krishna says in every verse, everywhere. It's easily said, but very hard to be done. So here, like Punya Prabhu was saying, this last sentence of this verse, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha, right? When this 5th chapter is talking all about liberation. Who is getting liberated? The person who is doing, right? So doesn't it seem that it may seem that when we are following this process, it is very, very selfish, because we are talking about becoming internal, being free from dualities, finding happiness within. It seems like this person who is trying to be liberated is very self-centered. You are doing everything for yourself. Right? Doesn't it seem like it? Like you're trying to detach yourself from all these attachments.
Yeah, but that's what it's talked about, right? Get away from the attachments, materialistic world, and think about yourself internally. So when the person is thinking about themselves internally, then what is wrong again?
So, but what about Manjira? Now you stop loving her?
I'm not saying that I'm able to do that.
No. I'm just saying. But in this process, does it seem to you that, oh, tomorrow I have to stop loving Manjira and all my kids because now I have to become internal and find happiness within? So Manjira can no longer give me happiness. So I'm going to stop looking for happiness from Manjira.
Not that we don't get happiness from a material world. It's just that another form of going towards liberation is to renunciate all the materialistic things, and including the rest of the people. That's what it is, right? So basically, when you renunciate and not think about them and think about
yourself,
internally analyzing yourself. That's what I'm. Not that you are thinking about yourself and then I want this, I want that kind of thing. Not that.
Yeah.
But internalizing yourself, thinking about yourself, and then I mean that's what it's talking about. So it's very difficult to attain, but.
Yeah. So that's what this verse is exactly saying, that even though trying to achieve this liberation may seem very selfish, But actually one of the prerequisites is Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha, which means you are concerned with the welfare of all living beings. But you cannot give to someone what you don't have. Right? If I have a bowl of rice, only then I can share half a bowl with you. If I have no rice, I cannot share anything with you.
Yeah, but here who is talking about sharing? It's just that you don't want it, you don't want it. I mean, like, so you can.
No, I'm using that as an orthogonal example, that when you are talking about the welfare of every living being, right, as a prerequisite for being able to be qualified for liberation, right? It's not that anybody can start thinking about everyone. You need to be at a certain level to be able to do that. And that's from that context I was saying you can only give to others what you have achieved or received yourself. So what is the qualification?
So first you do within yourself and then
Yes,
you.
but in order for you to become liberated, it's not what this verse is trying to say. This is not selfish. This is taking all the living entities together, and not just human form of lives, all forms of life with you, and thinking about the welfare of everyone. Yeah. Okay, let's read the purport. A few things will become even clearer here. Anyone? Balu Prabhu?
Yeah. Only a person who is fully in Krishna consciousness can be said to be engaged in welfare work for all living entities. When a person is actually in the knowledge that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, then when he acts in that spirit, he acts for everyone. The sufferings of humanity are due to forgetfulness of Krishna as the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, and the supreme friend. Therefore, to act to revive this consciousness within the entire human society is the highest welfare work.
Once again.
Yeah.
So, how many of you agree to what has been said so far? Only a person who is fully in Krishna consciousness can be said to be engaged in welfare work for all living entities. So, all these people who are doing welfare work in the field, feeding the hungry, building hospitals, that's useless?
They are doing thinking they will get something by doing those.
But let's say I'm not thinking, let's say I'm really truly a philanthropist. I don't care if I get back anything. We know of people who do that, right? Who are anonymously donate or anonymously do things where they are not looking for any recognition. According to this first sentence, they are not really.
Pull up the results, right? For whatever the good things they are doing, they still keep on increasing their account balance.
But let's say for a second, let's say for a second that this is a person who is truly not interested in any increasing of their bank account, nothing. They are truly philanthropic.
Okay.
So
what
by
about
definition,
them?
they are Krishna conscious, Mataji. That is also a definition of Krishna consciousness.
Sorry, bro, say that again.
No, when one is not looking the self as just this individual body, they are looking at a larger society or larger ecosystem. That itself means that their consciousness is higher than like a common human being.
Yeah, that is true, that the consciousness may be higher than a normal human being. So like there are different gradations, right? A person who does public welfare for all recognition, a person who does public welfare for no recognition or minimal recognition, and then there could be a person who does public welfare because they are Krishna conscious. So I'm talking about this middle layer. What about that middle layer? According to this
So
sentence,
even if you are not looking for recognition, that is also a kind of recognition. If you only recognize Krishna in everyone, that may be like the highest position. Like for example, if I'm donating something without looking for any recognition, maybe I'm internally looking for a recognition within myself that I'm
Okay, so
donating.
at a mental plane, it may be giving you pleasure at a mental plane that I donated. Okay, that's fine. But then this is still coming out as a very strong sentence. Only a person who is fully in Krishna consciousness can be said to be engaged in welfare work for all living entities.
It's like, yeah, he thinks that everyone is having Paramatma inside and he is helping them. In a way, he is also Krishna consciousness. That's what we are saying.
So see, like what happens is when these public welfare activities are happening, or at what plane are they happening?
Material plane or
Material,
physical plane.
bodily plane, right?
Right.
But we know we are not this body. So if we are trying to help hunger, then just solving, so like if I have a boil in the skin and I just treat it with some ointment, that's not going to the root of the problem. We have to understand why the boil is happening. So we have to understand why in the first place this section is poor, this section is unhealthy. We are not going to the root. We are not going understanding, like we are just giving food to the hungry. But why are they hungry in the first place? It's because of the social economical imbalance that has been created in the society, because of these different divides that are being created. So by just solving the boil in the skin doesn't solve the root of the problem. But when we go to the root of the problem and we know that eventually everybody is first of all not the body, so the relief that they need is not at the bodily platform. That is when real welfare starts.
I mean, it's pretty hard with us.
It is pretty hard. So it's not that we forget that they are hungry. It's not
Right,
that
exactly.
it's not that we start telling, oh, don't worry about your hunger.
Yeah,
You
it's
are not
only a
this body.
thing. Yeah.
No. It's not that. We know so many places, like right set of hospitals need to be built. The ones which are not doing just free treatment. Like I know of, there's a Bhakti Vedanta hospital in Mumbai, which treats patients, sometimes even free if needed, but they are also imparting the right knowledge. So it has to be combined with the right knowledge, not just saying that, okay, you need food, here you go. That doesn't solve the problem, because the boil will keep happening if you don't get your blood work done. Right? So the people who are in this platform are engaged in the right welfare. The body needs to be nourished, but then the soul needs nourishment too. Sorry, Balu Prabhu, please keep reading.
Where did I stop?
I think here, Prabhu.
Okay. Yeah. A Krishna conscious person has no doubt about the supremacy of the Krishna, supremacy of Krishna. He has no doubt because he is completely free from all sins. This is the state of divine love. A person engaged only in ministering to the physical welfare of human society cannot factually help anyone. Temporary relief of the external body and the mind is not satisfactory. The real cause of one's difficultness is the hard struggle for life may be found in one's forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Lord. When a man is fully conscious of his relationship with Krishna, he is actually a liberated soul, although he may be in the material
Tabernacle.
tabernacle. Yeah.
If let's say a person is sick, very sick, and I am not a doctor, I cannot treat that person. I can probably only give emotional support. Right? So we have to be at a certain qualification level to be able to support the welfare activities truly, because otherwise our welfare activity may be very misdirected. So this is what this verse is trying to say. It will become a little bit more clear as we go forward. So don't stress too much. Okay, next verse 26. Kama krodha vimuktanam
Kamakrodha vimuktanam
Yatinam yatachetasam
Yatinam yatachetesam
abhito brahma nirvanam
abhito brahma nirvanam
vartate viditatmanam.
vartate viditatmanam.
What is the common thread? Still that word continues.
Brahmanirvana.
Brahma nirmanam, right? Still that word continues. So let's read the translation.
Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future.
Okay, so now Krishna touches the nerve ending of Krodha and Kama. We have heard this come back before. So chapter 3 had this Kama and Krodha. Chapter 2 had reference to Kama and Krodha. Do we remember?
Yes.
Which verse? Chapter 3. Kama Krodha cha. Arjuna asks, right? What is the root of sin in third chapter? Let's see.
Kamesha, Krodesha, Rajadhani, Samatma.
Yes, that verse. Sorry. I think chapter 3. I think it's 37. I think it's verse 37. Yeah, Kamesha Krodesha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So Arjuna asks here in the third chapter, what causes one to sin? Why do we sin? Even though we don't want to, why do we sin? And here Krishna says that it is because of kama or lust, and that transforms into wrath or anger, which is the root of all the sins. Also, chapter 2, text 62. This is the downward spiral. Dhayato vishayan pumsa sangas tejo pijayate sangat sanjayate kama kama krodho bijayate. Right? So what happens? Krishna first says, in third chapter we saw Krishna says that the root of all the sins is kama and krodha. Here, even before that, in chapter 2, Krishna has already explained what happens when contemplating on the objects of the senses. A person develops attachment for them, right? You have a desire, you develop attachment, and from that attachment lust develops. Now you want, that desire becomes stronger and stronger, and from lust anger arises. Why from lust anger arises? Because your desires cannot be immediately fulfilled. So it leads to anger, because why am I not able to achieve this, right? And so this is a very famous downward spiral, couple of verses 62 and 63. So then when anger arises, so what happens? From anger complete delusion arises, right? And from delusion bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. If we have a burning piece of charcoal in our hand, anger, and we want to throw it at someone, the other person may be able to dodge it, but who is definitely hurt? Us. So when we have anger, then the other person may or may not be impacted, but we are definitely impacted, right? So again, now in fifth chapter, Krishna comes back to this verse and he says that those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized. So actually, kama and krodha, these are coupled. When you have kama, it's a matter of time that krodha will come, because not all our desires can be fulfilled all the time. So it's a matter of time.
Because of the karma, you might obtain that whatever you wanted. Would then still be anger if you obtain what you want?
Yeah, because now are we ever satisfied with the thing?
No, I mean you
More of it. Even in how many of us have heard the story of Vishwamitra? Menaka, right? Indra sends Menaka to seduce Vishwamitra, who was doing I don't know how many years of tapasya. And the first time Menaka comes, he is completely bewildered, forgets who he is, and gives in. He loses all his tapasya, right? So this is like satisfied, exactly what your example is, right? His lust is satisfied and it's done, although his tapasya is lost. Then Ramba comes. Indra sends Ramba,
who comes?
Menaka.
Okay.
And now Vishwamitra knows that he fell down last time. He is more aware, right? And so what happens is, even with this fulfilled desire last time, now Ramba comes, now he is super angry because he knows what happened last time and he is now knowledgeable. So he curses her. In that anger, he loses all his tapasya.
Oh, really?
Years and years of tapasya. So whenever karma comes, whether it's fulfilled or unfulfilled, it's a matter of time that krodha will come.
But it is not his lust to have Menaka, it is just being sent to him.
Yeah, either way. Sometimes a gulab jamun may come to you, or sometimes you may go to the shop and get the gulab jamun. It's the same thing because the desire is there to eat the gulab jamun. Yeah, in fact, like Krodh is called Kamanuja, like how we have Ramanuja, right? Anuja means younger, right? So Krodh is another word for Krodh is Kamanuja. Like if you have Kam, Krodh is just a younger brother following the older brother, byproduct. Yes. Okay, let's read the purport.
Of the saintly persons who are constantly engaged in striving towards salvation, one who is in Krishna consciousness is best of all. The Bhagavatam confirms this fact as follows.
Yat
Just try to Yat
Palasha.
Pada
Yeah.
Pankaja.
It's okay, Punya bro. Let's read the yeah.
Just try to worship in devotional service Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even great sages are not able to control the forces of the senses as effectively as those who are engaged in the transcendental bliss by serving the lotus feet of the Lord, uprooting the deep grown desire for fruitive activities. In the conditioned soul, the desire to enjoy the fruitive results of work is so deep rooted that it is very difficult even for the great sages to control such desires, despite great endeavors. A devotee of the Lord, constantly engaged in devotional service in Krishna consciousness, perfect in self-realization, very quickly attains liberation in the Supreme. Owing to his complete knowledge in the self-realization, he always remains in trance. To cite an analogous example of this, by vision, by meditation, and by touch only do the fish, the tortoise, and the birds maintain their offspring. Similarly do I also, O Padmaja.
One second, Prabhu, we'll pause here. So here in this first portion, this verse is from Bhagavatam. It's during the pastime of Prithu Maharaj. And here it's saying, Krishna is saying, just try to worship in devotional service Vasudev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even great sages are not able to control the forces of the senses as effectively as those who are engaged in transcendental bliss by serving the lotus feet of the Lord. So this verse is telling us how to become Yat Chetasam, that this verse is talking about. But again, we have still not found the right answer. How do we do this practically? Right? It's always talking about going internal, being engaged in transcendental bliss. So now basically what we know is that the root of all the issues is our desires. But desires cannot be suppressed because that's artificial and sooner or later they will come back stronger. So what do we really do? right? It is a paradox. Like, what do we really do? Okay, we can tolerate for some time. That was one practical application that we saw. But then what else? So I heard this very um, nice analogy. So let's say I have a cup of water, right? Imagine this cup of water is our mind. And I want to empty the air from this cup of water. I don't want my cup of water to have air. So one method is that I take a suction cup or I try to invert it and shake out all the air from the cup, right? Or I create a vacuum where I suck out all the air, right? How easy is this?
Put some more water, it will be done.
Right, right? So taking out the air from a cup of water is very hard. But if I fill it with water, the air is automatically gone, right? So if we want to artificially take out something, now think about this and draw it as a parallel to our mind. We want our mind to be free of desires. One method is to
More desires?
wait. One method is to try to take out all these material desires, like, and it will be like taking out the air from a cup of water, from a cup of empty cup of glass, empty glass, right? What will be easier is if we have more desires, but which are not at the material plane. If we fill our mind with transcendental desires, the desires which are in alignment with giving pleasure to the Supreme, we still have all these desires. But it's much easier than trying to first empty your mind of all the material desires. I was like, wow.
Keep coming if we try to empty it.
Yeah, they keep coming.
Instead of that, the second method
Yeah.
which I mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, where is it written somewhere that desires are like how incessant tributaries flow into the ocean?
Ocean, right.
That is how desires flow into our mind. And the more we tell it to not think of something, the more it thinks of it. We will do this exercise when we are chanting today. You will you will realize you will realize how our mind works. So the best way to empty our mind of unnecessary desires is to fill it with the right set of desires. Like, I know someone who loves shopping. Now, one is we shop for ourselves, all these clothes and stuff. Now she dovetailed her desire of shopping to buy paraphernalia for the deities. So she buys like nice jewelry and we offer to the Lord. It's still her desire, but it's dovetailed into something better. So many a times, whatever activities or these inclinations we have, many a times can be dovetailed to the right intention. So now slowly you are seeing that these verses are giving us more practical tips in terms of what we can do. Right? So here when it says just try to worship in devotional service Vasudev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it means that it's not that we have to empty our mind and thoughts and then replace it with these thoughts. Automatically that will happen. We just have to plug in to the right source. Prabhuji, just read from here. One second. This much.
Although far away from Lord's abode, can elevate himself to that abode simply by thinking of him constantly, by engagement in Krishna consciousness. He does not feel the pangs of material miseries. This state of life is called Brahma Nirvana, or the absence of material miseries due to being constantly immersed in the Supreme.
Right? So it's not that the miseries just go away. The miseries are still there, but they become much easier to transgress because now your intention is not to just solve them. You know that they are happening for a reason. Right? So again, it says that he does not feel the pangs of material miseries. This state of life is called Brahma Nirvana. Okay, so now these next two verses, now Krishna is transitioning. These next two verses are going to describe Ashtanga Yoga. And once we read the verse, I'll explain how and why suddenly Krishna is talking about Ashtanga Yoga. Because it seems like it's misplaced. We are discussing Karma Yoga, and now suddenly Krishna is going into Ashtanga Yoga. So let's read the verses first. Sparshan kritva bahirbaham yams
Spashan kritva bahirbahyams
चक्षुश्चैवन्त्र भ्रुवो
चक्षुश्चैवन्तरे भ्रुवो
प्राणपानौ समाकृत्वा
प्राणापानौ समौ कृत्वा
नासाभ्यन्तरचारिणौ
नासाभ्यन्तरचारिणौ यतेन्द्रियमनोबुद्धिर्मुनिर्मोक्षपरायणः
यतेन्द्रियमनोबुद्धिर्मुनिर्मोक्षपरायणः विगते च भयाक्रोधो
विगते च भयक्रोधो
यः सदा मुक्त एव सा.
यः सदा मुक्त एव सः.
Let's read this translation. Shutting out all external. Anyone?
Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind, senses and intelligence. The transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, fear and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated.
Right. So now shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, this is all Ashtanga Yoga. So Krishna now suddenly starts talking about Ashtanga Yoga. And the reason is, what has Krishna so far told Arjuna? So Krishna has so far told Arjuna, first, you have to perform action. Right? Because Arjuna initially was confused if he should at all fight or not fight. Right? So Krishna says Karma Yoga is mandatory. You have to perform your action. Now Krishna is giving Arjun two options. Now that you have performed action in Krishna consciousness, when you have matured enough, there are two paths for you to be able to achieve liberation. Either you follow Ashtanga Yoga, right? Or you follow Bhakti Yoga. So here Krishna is introducing Ashtanga Yoga because in this next chapter, chapter 6, Krishna is going to elaborate on Ashtanga Yoga. And from chapter 7 onwards, Bhakti Yoga will be discussed. So here, like, we are branching out into two sections, Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. Krishna is going to describe both and discuss pros and cons of both. So that, again, the whole goal is for Arjuna to be able to pick up the right process. But this is still in alignment with our current topic, which is liberation. Because once you have performed Karma Yoga to a certain extent, what's next? Either you follow Ashtanga Yoga or you follow Bhakti Yoga. Those are the two paths.
So, Karma Yoga has already been done. Then you could be liberated, right?
Yeah, you can be liberated. But now let's say you are getting to be, your body can no longer perform Karma Yoga to a large extent. You're getting old. So what's next? Ashtanga Yoga is the process where now let's say you are now to a point where all your material desires are done, right? You no longer care. So now what will you do? Now you have nothing to do.
YouTube.
Right? So now let's say you have been able to tolerate all your desires. You are to a point where nothing externally really matters to you anymore. So either you can at this point perform Ashtanga Yoga, which is like meditating on the Supreme more thoughtfully, and we will discuss this next, or you can perform Bhakti Yoga. And then eventually we know where Bhakti Yoga is going to go. But Krishna also says that Ashtanga Yoga is a process that you can follow. But no need to worry, we'll take a look at it when we get to chapter 6. Okay, purport. Maybe Santosh Prabhu can read.
Being engaged in Krishna consciousness, one can immediately understand one's spiritual identity and then one can understand the Supreme Lord by means of devotional service. When one is well situated in devotional service, one comes to the transcendental position, qualified to feel the presence of the Lord in the sphere of one's activity. This particular position is called liberation in the Supreme.
Right.
After After explaining the above principles of liberation in the Supreme, the Lord gives instruction to Arjuna as how one can come to that position by practice of the mysticism of yoga, known as Ashtanga Yoga, which is divisible into eightfold procedure called Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. In the sixth chapter, the subject of yoga is explained explicitly detailed, and at the end of the fifth, it is only preliminarily explained. One has to drive out the sense objects such as sound, touch, form, taste, and smell by pratyahara process in yoga, and then keep the vision of the eyes between the two eyebrows and concentrate on the tip of the nose with half closed lids. There is no benefit in closing the eyes altogether because then there's already chance of falling asleep. Nor is there benefit in opening the eyes completely because then there is the hazard of being attracted by sense objects. The breathing movement is restrained within the nostrils by neutralizing the up moving and down moving air within the body. By practice of such yoga, one is able to gain control over the senses, refrain from outward sense objects, and thus prepare oneself for liberation in the Supreme. This yoga process helps one become free from all kinds of fear and anger, and thus feel the presence of Supersoul in the transcendental situation. In other words, Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of executing yoga principles. This will be thoroughly explained in the next chapter. A Krishna conscious person, however, being always engaged in devotional service, does not risk losing his senses to some other engagement. This is a better way of controlling the senses than by Ashtanga yoga.
Yeah. So this is the glory of Prabhupada. Even before the chapter has started, Prabhupada has said what will be the climax. He has said that this is that being engaged in devotional service does not risk losing his senses to some other engagement. This is a better way of controlling the senses than by Ashtanga yoga. So even though we haven't explained Ashtanga yoga yet, but Prabhupada already says, and Krishna will also say the same thing later on. It's not that Prabhupada is making this up, that engaging our senses in positive engagement is always easier and better than trying to curb the actions, like in Ashtanga yoga. Okay, so we come to the last verse of this chapter, and it's a very, very important verse. We should try to memorize this. This is called peace formula. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam
Tarameghnatapasam
sarvaloka maheshwaram
Sarvaloka Maheshwaram
hridam sarvabhutanam
Sahradam Sarvabhutanam
atva mam shantim richati.
Jnatva Mam Shanti Vrachati.
Translation.
The person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries.
Right. Right. So Prabhupada used to call this the peace formula. Now the question is, how do we understand that this is truly the peace formula? So, I mean, we already know that. So this may seem like a verse where Krishna is boasting about himself, right? A person who is in full consciousness of me, knows me to be the ultimate me. Krishna is all about me, right? Me, knowing me to be the supreme Lord. He attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. We already know this. Are you all peaceful?
No, I mean, trying at least.
No, we are not peaceful, right? We have still so many struggles going on. So even with this knowledge, even though Krishna says that this is peace giving formula, we are not at peace. So which means we probably didn't understand what is Krishna trying to say here. But I think one thing that we will agree is that that after studying all these things in chapter 5, we know that the foundation for inner peace is not outside peace. external peace, right? For us to be peaceful internally, these external wars, even if they quieten down, they are not going to give us internal peace. The basis for internal peace needs to be found internally only, right? Do we all agree to that? Because where is the war raging? Are we really affected by the war that's going on right now in Ukraine? Initially, it was big news. Now it's become the norm. So are we really, does it impact our peace that much? If we are there, it does for sure. But if we are, once we are extracted away from a certain external situation, it doesn't impact us that much anymore. So even if all these wars stop, can we say we will be fully at peace? No, because the war is actually raging internally. So until we can have peace in this internal state of mind, there's really nothing that external forces can do. And why is the war raging internally? That's the next question, right? What is the war that is raging internally? And the war that is raging internally is Bhoktaram. What is the word by word meaning? The beneficiary. We want
I was thinking Bhaktaram is
us.
something has something to do with food.
Yeah, it is being it kind of. Bhoktaram means like we have this propensity that we want to enjoy. And this is the war that is raging internally. We are trying to usurp Krishna's position as the ultimate beneficiary of all the yagyas. When we perform austerity, right? Like I work hard throughout the week, Monday to Friday I slog. Then what do we want to do after that on Friday night? Chill, enjoy, watch the movies. Why? Because we worked hard throughout the week. So we want to enjoy at the end of the work week. So we think we are the Bhoktarams and we are competing with Krishna to be the enjoyer. This is the internal war that is raging. And then when we are not able to satisfy it, because what is the nature of happiness? It's chapal sukha, chapala. Chapala means transient, it comes and goes, right? So when we are not able to be enjoying like we want to, resentment develops. And when we have resentment, it can be of three kinds. Either it's me, so frustration, which means I cannot do this, I am miserable, I am a failure, or it's you, it's because of you I could not do this. Or if neither of those fall into the category, it's because of God.
Yeah.
Right?
That comes more often.
That comes more often because he's not there to, yeah, he's not going to come and say that, hold our neck and say, because Prabhu may say, hold my neck and say, you think it's me? It's actually you. But God is there, he's trying, but we haven't tuned our radio away from him, so we can't hear him. So this resentment is the cause of why this war rages, right? So how did we start? We said that we want to be the Bhoktarams. So first of all, we are taking Krishna's position because he says here, I am the ultimate beneficiary of all your austerities. But we want to be Bhoktaram and we cannot be the Bhoktaram all the time. So resentment develops. When resentment develops, then we try to find a blame person. And then when we cannot find a proper answer, frustration develops. And so peace is lost. When we now tune ourselves to say that, okay, Krishna is the ultimate Bhoktaram and all my sacrifices have to go for his pleasure, then sometimes when the pleasure is not that pleasurable, still we are okay. Right? Because we did what we could. The result is not in my hand. I tried my best. And so now I am not frustrated anymore because we tried our best. We are no longer attached to the results that much because we are offering them to Krishna. Even in the bad situations, so this is when we are trying to do something good, but when we are suffering, then also we see Krishna as Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, right? Shugradam Sarva Bhutanam, the well-wisher of all living entities. If we are able to truly believe this, that Krishna is the well-wisher, so far we have read it, we don't really believe it. We think we can still control everything. But when we really start believing that Krishna is the well-wisher of all living beings, which includes me, it means that when I'm going through suffering, then also there is something that is that is being wished for me in that suffering. And when we think about it that from that perspective, then we are not thinking that why am I the only one suffering? Why is the whole world looking happy? Then you suddenly start thinking, in this situation, what does Krishna want me to learn? And suddenly you will start feeling that there's a perspective shift that happens. You'll become peaceful. Because now it's not about me and I control the situation and I control this. It is like, this situation has been given to me. How do I learn from this? What is my learning? And I may not be able to learn anything from it now at this moment, but there is something for me to learn. Just like when a surgeon, when somebody is in pain, right? And a surgeon takes his knife and cuts apart your body, isn't he giving you more pain on top of the pain you had? Do we shout at him? It's to relieve the pain. But we, at that specific moment when we are being operated on, we may not understand that why this is happening. But eventually we will, after we are cured. So similarly, when we are given suffering on top of already everything else which is going on in life, we may not understand why I am the one getting the suffering. But if we keep that perspective that Krishna is the well-wisher of all living entities, just that those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words, Krishna is the well-wisher of all living entities. Just with those 5 words, if we keep them in mind, or immediately, I think our suffering will get reduced. That's why this is called the peace formula. Because no matter what happens externally, internally, the war that is raging between us to be the Bhoktaram and then to not being able to be the Bhoktaram and then suffering, immediately all those things automatically get peaceful. Okay. I think this is mainly what is covered in the verse. How about we read a little bit? We'll not read through the whole purport, but how about we read from here to here? Pragya Mataji, can you read?
So if in this context, I'm so sorry.
Yes, ask Prabhuji.
So in this situation, Krishna is saying Bhoktaram. So the war that is happening, so how it is, what Krishna is trying to do there when war is happening. So we understand Krishna is doing it. So with the expectation of Krishna from the war.
The internal war?
Whatever.
From Ukraine war?
Yeah.
Who knows? There could be many things. I mean, if you look in the different stories in Bhagavatam, when people get cursed, right? At that point when people are cursed, we may think that, oh, for such a small crime, this person got cursed so heavily. But then if you look at Yamal Arjuna trees, they get liberated by Krishna later. So was that curse bigger than the boon later? No.
It was seeming like that, but yeah, it was
Yes.
good for good reasons.
So also, who knows? I mean, there could be many reasons. Maybe it is their collective karma being delivered. When we see of an airplane crash,
Right.
or like a tornado, all these Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Atmika kleshas are there for a reason. They could be for something better later on, or they could be just a means to deliver collective karma. And we don't need to have this, we may not be able to understand it, and we may not need to understand it, because when our own house is on fire, we first need to get out ourselves from that burning fire house,
Right.
and then later understand, was it the gas knob which was turned on that caused the fire, or was it an electrical fire that caused the fire in the house, right? So it could be anything. The laws of karma are unforgiving. They grind fine, and we may not know them.
So yeah, their dates have maybe who could
Maybe, or maybe there could be
Maybe.
something better on the other side, even better, that we cannot see right now. But all we need to have, and all we need to make sure, is that we are compassionate. That tomorrow we don't go and tell all these people who are protesting on the road, man, this could be because of all the karma that you guys have done. You know what will happen if we do that? We may not come back walking from that.
That's our karma.
Yeah. So we never should lose sight of compassion, because we don't know what could be the reason. But what we control is being compassionate. And as we learned in this fifth chapter, Pandita Samadarshina, right? We need to be able to see with equal vision that right now that soul is suffering, but what can I do to help them?
Is the soul suffering or the body suffering?
It's the body suffering, but the soul starts identifying with the body. So we say that the soul suffer.
For most people, they don't identify themselves with the soul.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. That's why,
All
right?
that they have is the body.
For most of the people, soul is equal to the body.
They don't even know about the soul.
Yeah.
aspect. Most of them are only
At the bodily level.
What I am is what I am.
Yeah.
So there is no soul concept for them.
Yes.
So whether they have it or not, irrespective of it, if the body is suffering, and if you think that it is because of the karma that they have done, have gone through it, then why should one be merciful and what do you call it, do something?
But we don't know if it is exactly because of their karma or not.
Everything happens due to karma, right? Because that's what the saying.
Mother, I want to add something.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
So I think our dharma doesn't change because of their karma. We should be compassionate in a situation. That is our dharma. Not being compassionate may be like we are not doing our dharma. That may put us in like not doing the karma. It may be a vikarma for us.
Because see that what Punya Prabhu is trying to say is that as a soul, compassion is a virtue of a person. We already saw that, right? Like we have to be, as a prerequisite for us to be liberated, right? Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha needs to happen. We need to be the well-wisher of everyone. So by default, when we are able to be close to Krishna, we develop this quality automatically. We may see that something, like let's say my small son puts his finger in a running fan. This is called instant karmic reaction, right? One way is most of the Indian way, which is scolding even more. I told you to not do this, right? The other way is they learn by themselves. Instant karma. But you can be compassionate and say that, see, this is something that you were not supposed to do. You did it. Now you suffer the consequences. So there are different ways of tackling the same problem. When the others, so it is said that we need to be strict with ourselves and lenient with others. So when we are judging ourselves on this bar of karmic reaction, we know that when we are suffering, it is because of our karma. But when other person is suffering, we don't go and tell them you are suffering because of your karma. Even though we may think it is because of their karma, at that point, we need to show the most possible compassion that we can. Because as a living entity, our heart is soft. We feel the pain of others. But when it's happening to us, we know because we did something wrong. Right? So that should be our behavior.
Mataji, we should be compassionate to ourselves as well, right? Not forgiving.
We should be, but we know but with that knowledge that when we are suffering, it should be not that we close our eyes and say, oh, you are suffering so much, how do we, like, okay, now I'm going to lay in the bed and everybody needs to serve me, right? Not like that. We know that when we are suffering, it is because of our own actions, but yes, we act on it, right? What is the next thing we can do? It's not that I get sick and then I know it's because of this other thing that I did and I don't take any medication. No, we have to do the right next step to fix the problem.
Acknowledge Mataji.
Thank you, Raghu. Yes, sorry, Pragya Mataji. Let's read quickly.
The conditioned souls within the clutches of the illusory energy are all anxious to attain peace in the material world, but they do not know the formula of peace, which is explained in this part of the Bhagavad Gita. The greatest peace formula is simply this: Lord Krishna is the beneficiary in all human activities. Men should offer everything to the transcendental service of the Lord because He is the proprietor of all planets and the demigods thereon. No one is greater than He. He is greater than the greatest of the demigods, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma.
Yes. Okay, I think the rest of it is, this is important. The Lord is not partial towards anyone. Right? Seemingly, it may seem that, oh, that other person is in such a nice mental and physical and material state, but just like the rain falls evenly on a soil which has been tilled very nicely and has the right kind of seeds, and also the soil which is full of weeds or weed seeds. The rain falls evenly on both. Now, what you sow is what you reap. So, if a farmer has worked hard and sown the right kinds of seeds, the right kind of crop will come. We cannot say that because of the rain, my crop is bad. It's because of you that your crop is bad.
Krishna always says that I'll react based on what you feel about me, kind of thing, right?
That is in the positive way. It's ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyam. Krishna says, if you take one step towards me, I take 1,000 steps towards you.
Okay, but should one take one step at all is the question. I mean, like, I don't know how to say this exactly, but some people don't know the what do you call Krishna exists.
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
in that sense, then why would they even take any step further?
Yeah, that's fine.
Then
As
in that
long
case,
as,
then Krishna will not take 1,000 steps.
well, as long as, see, again, this has to be taken in the perspective of what it really means, right? As long as you, when you are in class 1, right, you may not know the syllabus that is being taught in class 12th.
Yes.
But as long as you are slowly progressing from class 1 to class 2 to class 3, you will eventually get to class 12. So as long as a person who is following their own religion properly, as it has been prescribed, eventually the right arrangement will be made for them to get to the right point. It may not be in this human life. It could be, who knows how many human lives we have been attempting before we even came close to Krishna, or even have this ability to sit in a class and understand Krishna. We don't know. Do we know last human birth, was I a pig, or was I a Muslim, or was I a Christian? Who knows? But as long as one is following their current human form of life as per their psychophysical nature and the body that they are in, the right arrangement will be made so that eventually they can come to the point of understanding this knowledge. It's progressive. Cannot happen in like straight away I want to go to class 12. No, you will fail miserably. You have to take one step at a time. And it's okay if somebody doesn't know about Krishna immediately. Let them follow, if somebody is a Christian, let them follow Christianity perfectly. It's fine. In fact, we should not disturb them. If somebody is following their own religion perfectly, we should not agitate them by saying you are doing something wrong. because they are following what they have been taught perfectly. But if somebody is curious and wants to know, like in Mantra House, we find so many, all these souls who are not even in Indian body, who are coming and being so inquisitive. So we don't tell them, go follow your religion, because they have, something is calling them. They have a calling. Why are they coming? Something, there's a calling in them. So we want to fulfill it. So we act according to a person's behavior and reaction. If we see somebody is not yet interested or getting repelled, leave them. Don't. The biggest violence that we can do is to act in such a way that we take somebody away from Krishna. That's the biggest violence. If we cannot bring them closer, at least don't take them away by your actions, by your force. That should be our goal. If somebody is willing, bring them in. If somebody is against, leave them. If somebody is neutral, try to see if they can become conducive. If not, then that's fine. Okay, with that, let's, any other questions? If not, we will do our one round of chanting for today. Prabhu, you have yours?
Yeah,
Beats?
yeah.
Okay. So today while chanting, we have an exercise.
Sakshi. It's witness. Witness thread.
So today we have an exercise. When we are going to chant, we have to make sure that when we close our eyes, we are not thinking about a monkey that is jumping from branch to branch. We have to make sure we don't think about a monkey that is jumping branch to branch. Okay, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jai Advaita Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Please remember that you don't have to think about the monkey that is jumping from one branch to the other. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.